Cool. Wait, we're going to start now?
Yeah, it's been rolling. But
All that fucking wasted time.
Fuck it, we're doing it live, folks.
Wait, so does the Rob Bailey show work?
Sure, why not?
Or are you just going to... I mean, that's the simplest, just calling it the Rob Bailey show.
It definitely makes all the sense.
Wait, hold up. Are your phones on Do Not Disturb?
Oh,
No, but
God.
my phone rings. I'm just going to answer it
This
online.
the worst first episode ever. We don't take live calls on this episode?
Maybe we will. We'll see if my phone rings.
All right. That could be a fun test.
Welcome. I'm going to say it. To the Rob Bailey show.
Oh, it's in the universe now.
All right, it exists. So this is my first episode. We've actually recorded some other episodes, but we're going back to do the official first episode, and you just heard us decide the name. We're going with the Rob Bailey Show. It's sort of a variety show about life and about improving yourself and things like that. And I have a little special guest with me.
Yes, I'm Austin Ragno, and today it'll be the Austin Ragno Show as well.
Wow.
I think the name should be up for debate.
All right,
You'll
cool.
You'll see where it goes.
Yeah, who knows? When this is posted, it'll actually have a real name. So I think I'm going to start with thanking our sponsors.
This is an official podcast.
This is what podcasts do. They thank their sponsors. And I'm open for more sponsors. But currently, the sponsors for this show are Flag Nor Fail,
Okay, makes
a
sense.
wonderful apparel line that started 10 years ago. Austin's been on board for about 5 of those years.
Incorrect.
6 of those years.
There you go. Going on 7.
6 going on 7. Wow. All right, so sort of like you're 5'6" going on 5'7".
Yeah, I'm 5'7".
Hell yeah.
I ain't ashamed of it neither.
Wears size 11 in Pumas.
They are European, so they make them a little bit different.
All right, so Flag Nor Fail is our apparel line. Quality goods, very limited quantities, and it's a streetwear adventure line.
Yeah, that sums it
Love
up.
it. Also brought to you by
Bum, 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 bum.
Run Everything, which is our supplement line. All vegan, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fantastic supplement line. We how many years has that been in business?
2015 March is when we released
So
Onward.
5 years onward.
Yep.
All right. Also brought to you by the person who bought the microphones, which is my band Kill Rob Bailey.
Ba, 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 ba.
And the building we're sitting in is paid for by Dana Lynn Bailey, DLB Daily,
Bum, 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 bum.
which Dana provides daily workouts for everyone.
How do I sponsor?
For the cheap, inexpensive price of $7 a month. Isn't that what it is?
Yeah.
And she actually puts a lot of time into it. She puts like a lot of time into it.
So my question is, I want to sponsor next episode. Do I have to pay money?
You have to do something.
Okay.
So we
All
can discuss sponsors. If you're interested in sponsoring the show, email.
I made an email the other day. I forgot what it is. I think there's like an info at Kill Rob.
Yeah, go to killrobbailey.com
and just follow.
Yeah, there'll be a contact. So, what is the episode today? Today's episode was actually your idea. I don't want to take any credit away from you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. You want me to explain it?
Yeah, explain it.
It's just who you are. I think.
No. You had like a really creative title for it.
It's on my phone.
It was like
Jake told me to turn my phone off.
It was like a resume.
Oh, past work experiences.
Past work experiences.
And life experiences, because I think that shows a lot of like it gives substance as to like a lot of the things you're doing now and how you got here, instead of just like, oh, Rob's a rich, successful asshole who has all these courses.
Why'd you just say?
And
First of all,
yells into the microphone and
please
makes
don't
music.
describe me as rich. It sounds. I feel dirty when you say that.
Sorry, Rob's just
And rich is all relative, you know.
yes. I'm
Some
rich in
people
heart.
are rich in
Heart
heart.
or chocolate,
Chocolate rich.
rich chocolate.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, so I think going over kind of the experiences that you've had in the past.
Did you say dickhead?
No, I didn't. When did I say that?
Can we
Did I say dickhead?
dickhead rich?
All right, I take it back. I was
Wait.
I was speaking for the people.
Describe me.
In what way?
Just if you were to meet somebody on the street.
On the golf course. When I
On the
meet
golf
people,
course.
how do I explain
Yeah,
you?
and you were wearing your Jordan golf shoes, and people were like, "Those aren't golf shoes," and you're like, "Yeah, they're special edition, fucking Air
Fives.
Jordans 5s golf shoes." And be like, "Okay, cool, bro. What do you do, by the way?" And you're like, "Well, I work for these brands," and they say, "Oh, aren't those brands owned by that guy? Who is he?"
Yeah, rich dickhead.
Oh, wow.
Well, it blurts out at me like that, and then I'm like, no, I take it back. Let me explain myself.
Rich dickhead.
No, I always explain what I do. I survey the people, and then if there's someone I want to engage in, I'll tell them what I actually do. If there's someone I don't want to engage in, then I just make something up, or I tell them something completely different so I can just go my own way.
So what would you tell somebody? I don't understand. So, like, if you don't want to talk to him, right?
Yeah.
Like, if it was Bill Solinsky, I know I just made that name up, but you know who I'm talking about. If it was him, he's like, oh, what do you do?
I'd just be like, I do graphic design.
And be like, oh, how do you like doing that? Who you work for?
I'm like, no, I'm freelance, but I'm busy. So I'm not looking for clients. Sorry.
And you give them that face, so then they're like, never mind, I'm not going to.
Yeah, deadpan.
And then you play 18 rounds of golf with them.
18 holes, yeah.
Oh
4.5 hours.
And you just never talk ever again.
Yeah, well, the thing out there is you do that, but then you fucking hit your ball in the green every time, and they hit their ball in the woods, and you don't got to talk to them anyway because they're trash. So you just make sure you play really well that day.
All right.
But if it's someone that I'm interested in talking to them, I'll give them a little more info.
So you say he's a rich dickhead.
No.
Then what?
No, and then most of the time people know the building.
Okay.
Because I guess a lot of people drive down highway, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are familiar with what we do, at least here in the Valley. And the one time on the golf course, I played golf, and what hole were we on? We're on 11, downhill, little bit, par 3, 200 into the wind. And we get up to the green, and the kid... I was talking to the kid, and I was like, oh, how much? What do you do? Blah, blah, blah. We were getting to know each other. And coincidentally, he was staying at the A-frame.
Oh, no shit.
And he was like, you know what's funny is I saw the logo on the back of your shirt earlier today, and I meant to ask you if that brand was popular around here because everything in the house that we're staying at, the Airbnb, has that logo on it.
So we stock so in my real estate company, I've been buying Airbnb cabins, right? And every cabin we get, since we own like an adventure street brand apparel line, Flagner Fail, we make rain jackets, we make hammocks, we make blankets, coffee mugs, everything like that. So we stock the house with all those goods. And a lot of times there are people that are fans of us stay there.
Yeah.
But then other times it's random people, and that's how they're introduced to the brand by their experience.
Yeah, that's just a kid. He worked for BuzzFeed, video director or whatever, and was in town. It was super dope. It's pretty funny.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I meet a lot of interesting people out there. Not many people I like though. So.
Oh Jesus.
But yeah, it's kind of just gauge it that way. But I think it's important that people that are either listening to this for the first time or people that have been following you for a while don't know anything about you.
So 2 things.
Go for it.
Shaped my entire life.
Okay. I'm excited and nervous all at the same time.
One was my mom.
Okay.
So my mom, we lived sort of in the middle of nowhere, right? You don't know anything about where I grew up.
No, just show me pictures on Google Maps.
Okay, yeah. So I lived on 2 acres, so we had a large yard, but all the kids that lived around me were sort of dickbags. Like the one kid always tried to get me to play swords with him in the woods.
Ew.
You know what that is?
I mean, I can guess.
It's like when you hit your dicks together.
Okay.
And I remember being like, I don't want to do that. And he'd be like, oh, and he'd pull his dick out and pee. And I'd be like, oh my God, everybody in this neighborhood's fucking horrible.
Yeah.
So there was some okay people in my neighborhood, but nobody that I wanted to like chill with, right? Especially swords kid
or
across
sword
the street.
fight, apparently.
My God. Anyway, so my mom worked night shift as a nurse because she liked being there when I got home from school. But what she ran into is like during the day, she would sleep. So I had to sort of stay home and be quiet. And that was fine during the summer because I could play in the woods and everything like that. But during like the winter or when it was cold or raining, I just stayed in the house. And we didn't really have money for video games or anything like that. So there was literally nothing for me to do. And I had to stay quiet during the day. So she actually taught me how to cross stitch at like a very, very young age. So I don't know if you saw that in my office, but there's a little sailboat.
Sailboat, yeah.
That's the first thing I ever cross-stitched.
Okay.
So I did that, right? And I always used to like to draw. So I cross-stitched, and I realized it was like a different medium for me. I didn't obviously say medium at that age, but then this is going to tie in.
And what is it? It's like what year? What
I was
age?
young, dude.
Okay.
I was like.
We're in the late 80s, maybe?
Yeah, we're in the 80s.
Okay.
We're in the 80s, and you'd probably be surprised. At that young, you shouldn't have like probably left me alone with needles. I don't think.
Right.
You know, it's like one of those things. So I used to cross stitch, and so cross stitching is very big for me because that introduced me to sewing and realizing that like I can make things, you know? And I really, really liked making things. Like all my furniture in my room, I used to draw all over and like Rob Zombie. I don't even remember like old school Rob Zombie, like Last Exorcisto and all that stuff back when it was White Zombie and all his illustrations. They always amazed me. So I'd always like mimic all those all over my everything. But my like some of my second or third cross stitch were the Ninja Turtles. Just because Ninja Turtles were so cool back then, right?
Yeah.
And I think I had movies growing up. I had like White Fang and I had Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
So this goes into the second part, and I forgot that they crossed over because I used to cross stitch Ninja Turtles, which
which is the coolest thing ever.
yeah, which you know I was gonna say it's weird, but it sounds cool. So what shaped the rest of my life, and I realized this the other day as I was training, was do you remember the Ninja Turtles when Shredder he got like that island with the abandoned warehouse?
Okay.
You remember that?
Yeah, I don't, but I'm not gonna like guess names or anything.
Okay, you
but
don't need to know names.
Yeah,
you don't. So remember, I forget. Like one of the kids went there for the first time, and there was like fucking quarter pipes and skate ramps, and there was like an arcade in there, and everyone was like smoking cigarettes, and like it was just kids just being awesome. And then like later on, I think what the reporter or whatever got taken hostage, and they were like back in inventory where he had like boxes of stuff. I remember growing up at whatever age that was. Once again, we're at like what 6?
Probably. Yeah.
And I remember it got in my head, and it was like, I want to one day live in a giant abandoned warehouse with everything I've ever wanted. Like based on seeing Shredder provide that for the kids.
Yeah. Like it's
Like,
compound.
it was just like, oh, that's what I want. That's what I want when I grow up. And like I lost that dream for a long time. Just like growing up, my dad told me he wanted a 911 at whatever age, and I was like, oh, I want 911s. And like, so all those dreams that I had when I was like super young, like they went away, and then like in my in my mid to late 20s, I was like, they all came out, and I was like, oh wait, like I'm Master Shredder now.
Okay.
Sort of.
Well, it's because when you're little, you can't fathom like how do you have when you're 13, how do you fathom like I'm gonna have a 911 in this big compound with all the shit that I like in it?
No, yeah, and I think that my imagination, it's weird, like my imagination wasn't encouraged. Does that make sense? So like
yeah, it does, but that's like the opposite.
You would think, right?
Yeah.
So like for example, like
because I'm the opposite.
You drawing growing up, your parents probably like
my
backed
dad.
That. Yeah. So my mom was always like, "Oh, that's nice." Like she was always like, "That's nice," but she was never like, "You should do that,"
or "You should go to art school." Or
no.
Okay.
I was wait, we're pretty deep in 2020 right now. So I'm new at this podcast thing.
Choose your words carefully, Rob Bailey.
It was always my dad. My dad's you know my dad. Yeah. He's a little rough around the edges. He's softened up. So you know like the new my dad.
Yeah.
I'm talking about my dad from like the fucking 80s.
Yeah, I don't know that version.
And
I can
early
imagine.
90s.
I've seen pictures.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
like jacked, shredded, and tan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just crazy looking all the time. But it was like, no, you can't go to art school. You'll become gay. It's like, no. And my mom was like, well, you know, starving artists, like, there's no such thing as artists that make a living. And I was like, oh.
It was a different era back then for art.
And the same thing for art, 100%. Yeah. And you didn't know anyone who was making it. Like, maybe you did because you were in the city, but I was so isolated, like, out in the woods that, like, I was like, oh, you're right. Like, I don't know anybody. Like, I didn't know anyone doing anything. I knew friends in bands and stuff like that, but like they weren't real.
So the art, like, was it something you like really?
I did
pursued?
It all the time, dude. I drew everything all the time.
So you did, okay.
All the time. But I never took it serious. Like I never thought I could do anything.
You never saw it as like a profession or a career. It was more so just like something that you did.
Yeah. So I think going. Like sort of never was really encouraged to do anything but sports, right?
Okay.
But was discouraged to go to art school because apparently I would start liking men.
Okay.
Which there's nothing wrong with that. But apparently that would then shape my sexuality.
Right.
And it was like
so we're high school now, you're into sports and you're not really sure what the next step is.
Well, all it was you're going to go to college to play football.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, cool, that's what you do. But in the same respect, and this pisses me off, because like now looking at the size that I am, it's like, fuck, if I would have actually tried,
I could have done it.
I could have probably played.
Yeah, but you can't.
But once again, I don't know. But like
Yeah.
that was also never a thought. So it was like I had these things that I liked, but I never like dreamed big enough to think that I could do them.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like it was like okay, I'm gonna go play football in high school. I'm gonna go play football in college, and then I'm gonna go get a real job.
Okay.
It's like why did I never think like, oh, I'm gonna go to the NFL,
The next level.
because it was just never laid out for me.
And it's crazy how deep you have that drive now that it's like it's almost like it's something you taught or like instilled
100%
in
taught
yourself.
myself. Yeah.
It's not like it was a gift, or it's not like that drive was always inside of you. It was, but in a different sense.
There was a bunch of like experimenting inside of me, like so like once again going to because I could dabble in things, you know what I mean. So like when video came out, I was in 10th grade. It was like we got our first video class, because back then video was weird.
Yeah.
The computers everything was weird, and like I could dabble in video. And then I think in 9th grade there was sewing class. Or I don't know if it was called sewing class or home ec, but like
home ec.
It was a part of home ec, and I remember like, dude, they just had access to good sewing machines, and like my sewing machine wasn't that good, and I was just like hype.
And just to put numbers on this, you're probably talking 9th grade, 97.
96.
Okay, 96.
I think I started driving in 97.
Okay.
Or no, started driving in 98 or something like that.
Okay.
I went to my first Warped Tour in 97. That's all I know.
Oh, let's go.
I bought a face-to-face shirt that said Tour 97 on the back. So
All right.
that's sort of that's the only thing I know about my life. But I remember they had really good sewing machines, and I was like so hyped, dude. And like I'd be like a little late for football practice and be doing all this stuff because I could use like fabric scraps and things like that other people were just leaving there.
Yeah.
And like I realized like, ooh, I can make my pants bigger. So one of the main reasons I started sewing was Jinkos. Were very, very popular. But like, once again, I'm not selling the story of like, oh, I was poor or anything like that. But we were lower middle class.
Okay.
So all my friends were upper middle class.
Yeah.
Just because, I guess that's who I rolled with. So like for them, like, dude, they had stuff that like they had just tons of pairs of Jinkos. And I remember being like, Mom, buy me Jinkos. She's like, are you kidding me? They're $60 or they're $40 or whatever. So I used to steal the stickers off of them. I used to walk around like the store and steal the stickers. So I had all the stickers, but I could never afford them and like whatever. So I found out and I was like, wow, they leave all these scrap pieces of fabric in sewing class. And the easiest thing is if you take the inside of your pants and you cut the seam up to the crotch and down, if you add 2 inches or 3 inches of fabric there, you have Jinkos. The waist stays the same, the hips stay the same, and the pants get bigger. I think it's a very like hippie thing to do.
Yeah.
But I realized you could start doing that. And then my dad had like a bunch of old camo pants. So I started taking like camo cargo pants and doing the same thing. And that's when I started to get attention because people were like, whoa, where'd you get those pants? Because the other ones you could tell. These ones I had the same fabric. So I could take one pair of pants and make 3 pairs of pants out of them, you know what I mean, by adding fabric in. And all of a sudden I started getting attention from like the older kids and like some girls and stuff like that and be like, these are the dopest pants ever. Where'd you get this? And I'd be like, I made them. And it would blow people's minds.
Yeah.
And blew the teachers' minds and stuff like that. So then I started actually like taking sewing seriously. But same thing, never thought that I could do it. Like never even considered.
It was a path of any sort.
Never even, just was like, oh, this is another thing that I do.
It's a hobby. It's just something to do.
But dude, every single, and I was dating a girl too her dream was to become a fashion designer.
Okay.
And I remember being
That's funny.
I know. I wish I could find I wish I could find her now because she was sort of cunty. She was, what she didn't like is that was her clear direction.
Always.
Okay. She had the name of her company was going to be like Evil Eye or something like that.
Okay.
And I'm surprised I remember that. But that was her direction. She was going to do that. And she was like
set on it.
Sort of cocky about it. And then she hated that I would sew and I was good at it. So like we in 9th,
Then it
10th,
makes sense.
I know. So I would be like late going to Jake, or what's going on here? I'd be late going to football practice or going to basketball or track because I'd be finishing up sewing something. And dude, I would win all the fashion shows. And just like, I would make a hoodie. You'd hang a hoodie on a hanger, and then I'd come back and be like, oh yeah, you won first place while you were at fucking football practice. Meanwhile, like she's there, like
Trying
setting
her
up
best.
her fucking science fair project with all her sewing stuff on it, and her stupid ass boyfriend who's not even there fucking wins. So she was always like a little weird about that.
Okay.
But I always saw that as like her dream, but that wasn't my path. So won all the fashion shows. It was super cool. I made my tux for prom. I made like a white zoot suit with black flames up it.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was a mess.
God, I wish we had photos of that.
There is a photo somewhere.
Oh, we have to find it.
I can probably find it. It's somewhere.
Okay.
Dana probably knows where it's at.
So you wrap up high school.
Wrapped up high school.
Now what?
And I went to
College to play football.
I went to college to play football, and I made a weird decision. Once again, I switched girlfriends, and
What you say once again, like?
Well, I don't know. Whatever. Okay, whatever. So I had a new girlfriend this time, and I never had the dream to like move really far away from home.
Okay.
You know, I sort of liked the area I was. I was comfortable with it. She was there. I think her and I were sort of broken up, or something. I don't fucking know. That time's very blurry for me. In case any of them are listening, there was a bunch of girls I don't remember. But I went to school for who knows. I went to like undecided just to play football.
Where'd you go to school?
Westchester University. So I went Division II. I dislocated my shoulder. Whatever. I'm not going to do that whole thing. But I played at Westchester and was never really interested. The team didn't win.
In football or school?
Both.
Okay.
So,
that's important.
During high school, I started cooking. I was a
Okay.
dishwasher who worked up to working on the line. Then when I went to Westchester, I got a job as like under Clark Gilbert, so like cooking more fine dining French.
So when you say you started cooking, you mean for work?
For work,
You started working in
So
high
I was
school.
working. I was cooking 9 hours a day,
Okay.
6 days a week.
Okay.
So I had off Mondays. So I was making decent money. So I was making $110 a shift. So I was making what, $660 at I guess 18.
Mm.
So like I saw that as like I'm making tons of. I'm making.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep working.
Yeah. So school was getting in the way of my work.
Right.
And then one of the big things, the first thing that ever really like assembled things in my life, which was, I met a dude named Mike Schultz. Once again, no idea where he's at. First time I've said his name in 10 years. And Mike worked part-time, and he was M. Night Shyamalan's private chef.
Okay.
So he would cook lunch for him every day. And I remember he told me how much he made. I forget what it is, but it was like a real amount of money.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, tell me what? He's like, well, there's 3 people there every day, and I cook lunch for 3 people. And I was like, well, tell me what the fuck? Like, what do you cook for lunch? And he's like, oh, I cook like a really nice grilled cheese with like this tomato soup, blah, blah, blah. And he just makes it fancy, but it's like tomato soup and a grilled cheese. And I'm like, and you make how much a year?
Right.
Like, it's to me, it seemed like the dopest job ever. And I was also at that time, I had just started going to a pro bodybuilder's gym. So Brian Chamberlain's gym in Westchester.
Okay.
I started going there.
So this is where the storm is
So
starting
all of
to
a
brew.
sudden, I'm going to school. Don't care about school at all. Stupid. And I find out that Brian Chamberlain, I'm seeing that like he's making money. He's owning a gym. He's like living the dream from what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And then Mike Schultz is living the other dream where he's like a private chef. And I was like, yo, if I go to school for nutrition and I get, my degree in nutrition and I keep up on working out, I could be like the dopest personal chef trainer ever and then
Right.
work in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So that turned into my dream for a little bit. Then I found out to get your degree in nutrition, you have to go to school.
Yeah, you don't just like buy it online.
So I completely gave up on that. And I dropped out of college after I think year 1.5 or
Okay.
something. I was on academic probation.
just not for you.
I definitely was not doing well at all.
Yeah.
I kept cooking, and then I decided, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to art school.
Okay.
I
And
remember
this by 2000.
somewhere around there. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this is like 2000, maybe 2, something
Okay.
like that. Maybe 2003. I don't know. So then I left where I went, and I went to art school, and once again, crushed it. Just not once again, but like crushed art school, dude.
Uh-huh.
Because I showed up as an adult at that point in time. I was
Right.
like 3 years older than everybody else. The internet has just really started to come out in 2003.
Yep.
And these kids are all like, I don't know, like Facebook was sort of starting. I had no idea what that was.
Uh-huh.
Like I had barely got like a functioning fucking cell phone. Apple had just became like a popular computer.
Yep.
Like it's all sort of starting, and these kids were like on the front line of it, and I was more like commuting into Philadelphia for an hour. So I just never really like made friends with anybody there.
Uh-huh.
And I used to just come in and crush projects because I'm the same way as you. Like if you told me, hey, here's the project, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even have an example of a project, but you know, they give you a typical project like, hey, say the graphic design project has photography, it has type, it has some kind of text to it or whatever. I'd be like, well, I'm going to make my own text.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of like me handwriting things out, scanning in that, cutting it out, laying that to give it its things. If there's a texture on the photo, I'm taking a photo of the texture outside in concrete. I'm bringing it in. I'm manipulating it. I'm overlaying it. Like if I needed drips or anything like that, it's me spraying spray paint on a wall. I'm like literally touching every part of this project down to photography. So Dana bought me my first DSLR. I think I forgot what I was using, but I started taking my own photos and using her as a model because I don't know, like if we're going to be selling a ring or we're going to be selling a shirt or something that I'm doing an ad for, it felt weird using stock photography.
Yeah.
So I'd show up with this whole elaborate thing where I touched every part of it.
That was thought out.
And everybody else is just using stock photography and then like type, and it just all looks dumb. And I feel like they're not taking it serious. So that was like halfway through year one. I was like, I'm so much better than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like I'm wasting my time. So I went out and got internships right away.
Right.
So you weren't supposed to get internships till year 3 or 4. So I had, I think, 2 different internships, and I was working for Mod Worldwide, John and Nina Stanley. I'm just name dropping like a motherfucker in this. So John and Nina Stanley, who I haven't talked to in forever, which I should probably reach out to, and they worked on Market Street in Philly.
Okay. Yeah.
And they had it was in their house, a husband and wife. The husband, he admittedly had no fucking clue what he was doing. He was just an awesome dude who could talk. And his wife was just a boss-ass designer. So he would go in and just crush deals and, like, make friends, and, like, he was just awesome. And then his wife would come in and just be, like, smooth. And they would just all the apartment complexes going up, all that shit, they would just, boom, do it. And I remember seeing an invoice for a very, very small deal. Something came in where they were doing one of the roll-down banners on the side of the building, and they were doing a couple other ads. And it came in, their creative fee was $58,000. And she's having me look at the creative, and it's what the sign printer sent them back a proof that they had to sign off on.
Uh-huh.
And she was having me pick out, like, because, you know, sometimes they move or they switch fonts or anything like that. And she was like, what do you see wrong with this? Like, she's testing me, and I'm sitting there and, like, I can't stop looking
The number.
at the fucking tab behind it that says $58,000. And, like, I'm looking at that. I'm like, that's what my parents make in, like, a fucking year.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, they're going to get this tomorrow for doing this one ad. Obviously, that's not how it works.
Right.
But all I saw was $58,000. And she's like, do you see anything wrong? And I'm like, I don't know a line. And she's like, no, they moved this text off. This should be centered. And I was like, cool, fucking center it. And, like, I went home, and all I could think about is, like, there's 2 of them. I know they have, like, 15 clients, and $58,000 is those 2 and an intern. Why the fuck am I in school right now?
Right.
So I dropped right out of school. And at that point in time, holy shit, I'm remembering all these people. I met a dude named Quan who was hand printing shirts, right? So I was trading them artwork, and they would buy me blanks, okay?
Okay.
So he needed fresh new artwork. So I was,
Gotcha.
like, just designing him random artwork, and then they'd pay me a $20 to design. So I would just fucking boom, 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 kick out
Pump 'em out,
designs,
yeah.
and they would then go buy me $140 in blank T-shirts.
Gotcha.
And then they charged me $1 a print. So I learned how to screen print, like, by helping Quan, until they realized that, like, oh, this kid's really, really serious, and he's taking up way too much of our time. Because I was just design. Here's your bill. Buy me shirts. Let's print the shirts now.
Yeah.
So that's when I started doing my first brand, which was Broken Text. So I'm doing Broken Text. We're living at my parents' house because we moved out of the apartment back to my parents' house.
So the same house you grew up in.
No, just a different
Okay.
one. But Dana and I were planning on getting married.
Okay.
So we did like a 6-month thing where we lived at my parents' house. Once again, this is like 15 years ago, something like that. No, less than that. Whatever, 14 years ago. So we're living at my parents' house, and I land a job. I sent in my portfolio, and I got a job at QVC.
Oh.
Yeah, QVC, which I don't even know if people know what that is, but it's
They
like
have to.
if you turn on the television, dude.
If you were a '90s baby.
No, but who knows? There might
Oh,
be
yeah,
young
maybe
kids
they
listening
know.
to this shit, man.
So when you were going for your job, was
My job interview?
No. When you applied to QVC, were you trying like actively to get a job?
Yeah.
Were you lucky?
Well,
for
no,
QVC?
at that point in time, I was taking silk screening as I was just making shirts for my friends.
Okay.
So the first time I ever silk screened was the Kill Rob Bailey shirt,
Right.
which was, dude, that was like the year 2001.
Okay.
So I made that on a speedball thing in Westchester before I dropped out in Dana's kitchen.
Gotcha.
And I just did, I just made, I don't know, 15 Kill Rob Bailey shirts and gave them to people.
Yeah.
But then when I started silk screening on a real press and using like an oven to dry and like actually seeing the
real
process,
process,
this is
yeah.
different. So when I got the job at QVC, that's what I wanted because I needed a real job.
Gotcha.
Everyone had said that.
Yeah.
Dana's dad, when I said, "Hey, will she marry me?" He's like, "Yeah, but absolutely. But think about getting a real job." And I
Right.
was like, "Well, what do you mean real job?
This guy.
I'm cooking on the side and freelancing and whatever."
Uh-huh.
So I knew that I had to get a real job because
Yeah.
you need a 401k, you need benefits, you need all this shit.
yeah.
And by this time, Dana had already got a real job. So she's a school teacher.
Yep.
So I get the job at QVC. They're like, "Hey, we can't hire you because you don't have a bachelor's degree, but just lie because you're really good. So it's not going to matter. But if anybody ever asks you, just say you graduated with a bachelor's degree." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't realize it was that fucking easy."
Yeah.
Which, looking back now, it is.
Yeah.
So you just say you have whatever degree you want. We've met people like this where
Yeah.
they say, "I have all these degrees," and you're like, "Oh, okay, cool." You're not going to call the school.
Yeah, you're not gonna call the director.
Or
and be like,
you're not going to ask to see their diploma. You just believe them. And
Yeah.
I was like, "Bitch, I just saved $90,000.
Yeah.
So I got the job, and the beautiful thing there was I got to see the whole entire process. So QVC is pretty much like a television shopping network,
Yep.
right? So you got buyers, then you've had the marketing team.
Buyers meaning buying product from the suppliers to sell to the customers.
Yes. Right. So what they do is they go out there and shop. So they look for like the newest fucking toaster,
Yeah.
right? And they find a toaster that also is Bluetooth and LED flashing lights and whatever.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Okay, this is great." So then they bring the buyer brings that back in and they're like, "This is my toaster, greatest thing ever." And everybody sucks their dick because they're the buyers. Oh my God. So then they come to the marketing team, or what was that team called? I forget what that team was called. But the buyers bring it in and they meet with like the key eyes. You remember key eye. So they meet with them and they explain like whatever. And then that team comes to us and they're like, "All right, we have this toaster. These are the great parts about the toaster. This is what's going to make it sell. This is how we're going to do it. This is what our projected goals are." And then I have to come up with advertisements.
Yeah.
So I would take the toaster and then I mock up my advertisement. So I'm like, "All right, cool. It's a flashy toaster. It should be shot on a kitchen. There should be kids running in the background. There should be a woman like, getting ready for work, how efficient this toaster is and blah. And she's hip looking." And I mock that all up in Photoshop. I get it approved. And then I schedule a photo shoot with the photography team. The photography team goes and shoots it. We execute it. We bring it back. We come out with our whole rollout for how it goes. The marketing team approves it. Then we launch it, and they sell fucking $60,000 million in toasters.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa.
Bought by people like my mom.
Yeah.
Who like four easy payments of the
Exactly. And you see all those
I grew up
marketing
watching QVC.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And the cool thing is, so I saw it from the toaster coming in to how they picked out what's great about this toaster. So building the narrative of
Every point of it, yeah.
Yeah, what makes this toaster great? Then coming to the artist and saying, "This is what makes this toaster great. Make this graphically." Me figuring out how to do that, going in, working with photographers, lighters, stylists, how to make that happen, coming back and then implementing it with the HTML team. So I saw that whole process.
Literally start to finish.
And it was like no one else was seeing the process but me.
Yeah.
Everyone else was like, "I just make graphics." And I was like, we're in like,
Yeah, open your
we're
eyes.
seeing everything.
Uh-huh.
So I worked there for about 4 years. And then My first apparel line, Broken Text, that was like, once again, no ambition of going anywhere, went away. And that was just based on graph and shit like that. Yeah, just fun. We all had one. We all had.
Yeah, I had multiple clothing brands.
You're just like,
I ran.
let me make a clothing brand. So I'd never really had anyone to look at to think, oh, I could do that. Okay. And I think that's what it was. It was that spark that you talked about, like, hey, Rob, do you want to play in the NFL? You could. Right. Like, I just need one fucking person to say that to me. Or I need to know someone who went to the NFL.
Yeah, and we're also going back to an era where there wasn't social media. So it wasn't like, oh, I see all these people around me, or I see these people online showing me that they're doing it. So there is no, like, there was no role models.
No, so, like, my role models were, there was, you know, skating was getting pretty popular, like skateboarding. Yeah. So, like, I would see professional skaters that were kids, but they were always sponsored by, like, Alien Workshop. Yeah. Or they were always, like, even BAM was coming out. But, like, BAM, it was like, oh, well, he's sponsored by X, Y, and Z and MTV now. Yeah. So it's like, I never personally knew anyone that was doing it on their own. It was always like, oh, they're doing it because a giant corporation picked them
backing
up.
Them.
Yeah. And anyone who was part of anything were sponsored or whatever. So that's how I thought. I thought there's these giant corporations, and then sometimes they pay attention to you. And then seeing the QVC process, I was like, oh, this is cool. Dude named Rasta Steve. So Rasta Steve cooked with me. Okay. Looking back now, he's definitely like a revolutionary dude, sort of a maniac. Okay. Really, really super cool. He had a skate company. And, like, I'm working on the line with him, fucking working the fryer. And he's like, oh, I own a skate company. And I was like, no, there's no way to own a skate company. Like,
right. Also, why are you here then?
And that's what I'm like, I couldn't process. So he's like, no, I own a skate company. It's called Charge Skate Company. And I was like, okay, well, what do you mean? He's like, oh, come out to my car. So we walk out to his, like, old beat-up car that's barely running. And he pops the trunk, and he has 15 skate decks in there and some T-shirts.
And you're like,
and I was like,
shit.
Whoa, you do have a skate company. So I picked it up. I remember looking at it. I was like, this is like an actual skateboard. Yeah. He's like, yeah, I'm in 3 stores in Philly. And I was like, wait, so you're like, you actually own a skate company. And that's when it was like, it sort of started to process. So when I started printing the the Flagner Fail stuff, I did a car show, the Carlisle Car Show, if anybody knows that. Yep. It rained the first day, so nobody showed up. And it was like me and Pretty Ron at this car show, and like Speed Freaks were there, which was another company I was printing for. And day 2, people came around, and because it was wet, everyone's clothes got wet, so they all needed stuff. And bro, I sold $1,800 in shit. Now QVC, I was making $38,000 a year. Right. So I came back and I was like, I made $1,800. I didn't think about like anything. I just like I made.
You were like, I just made 2 weeks' pay in a couple of hours.
Yeah, and I was like, so if I work 2 weekends a month, I don't have to work full time anymore. Yeah. Plus, if I do some freelance work, because I was freelance designing, and so I did that for like a year, I think.
When you say you did that, you're saying Flagner Fail and QVC?
Flagner Fail and QVC and freelance.
Okay.
So we had bought a house, and we were like broke. I didn't realize how real life worked. Like I thought you got a job and everything was like it all sort of worked out. And then you're
done, yeah.
So like we got a job, and like all of a sudden like the hot water heater broke, and
real life shit.
We couldn't fix it because it was $400. So for like 4 months, we went to the gym, and Dana we would train in the morning and then shower. Some mornings we would just go and shower, and she would like do her hair and everything and get ready at World's Gym. Yeah. And then after work, we'd come home and train and then shower there because we didn't have hot water at the house. It was like 4 months until we could save up $400. And like I have since purchased that gym and I own it now, but which is the
Warhouse Gym,
which feels really cool. Yeah. But like, yeah, for 4 months, it was just like, she was like, are we closer? I'm like, all right, well, we have $320 saved up, like another month. And just to think back, like, crazy, fuck, man, like crazy. But I thought that's what real life was. Like, I thought real life was, yeah, you're just limited. So I started freelancing like heavy because I didn't feel like a man. I felt like.
You didn't feel like a man because what? You couldn't.
Well, I felt like a man. Like I couldn't take her out to eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I couldn't get the hot water heater fixed. Like I couldn't do anything. I was just this dude who was just going to work every day and like couldn't we couldn't buy new clothes. We had to buy the dog food that cost fucking $12 a bag. Like you know, just everything felt weird. And like we had a house, we had all the stuff, but it didn't feel like this was life.
Yeah.
You know? So I started freelancing. I started making some decent money freelancing. We also started YouTube, which she started to get like a little bit of attention on YouTube. This was back when YouTube was first starting. And then Dana started to get like a little popular online through the YouTube and going to things. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to put Flag Nor Fail up on the internet for sale. So I put Flag Nor Fail up for the internet for sale. And back then, I look back at those posts on Facebook. I thought I was killing it, dude. We were getting like 10 comments.
Yeah.
But I think back now, and I'm like, we're crushing it on comments and engagement, and it's like 10.
It was new to you. It was a different era of social.
And it was also 10 people that I had no idea who they were.
Yeah, so
commenting on
crazy.
something. Like, it was the biggest thing in the world
and
to
this
me.
is 2010.
This is
Flag Nor
late
Fail.
2009.
Going into 2010.
2010 is when I made Flag Nor Fail a real brand with the government, with a bank account. Prior to that, it was just PayPal. So I put up these pink tank tops with a hand script across the front that said Flag Nor Fail, right? Hand print them in the garage. And I sold 3 or $75 worth. It's $25 a piece, $75 worth over the weekend. And like, I didn't check the account for some reason, which is, thinking back now, it's like sort of crazy. Like, I put them up for sale and didn't look at the internet for 2 days and came back Monday. I was like, I made $75 this weekend. I was like, between the $1,800 that I can make on a Saturday and this, like, fuck a real job, bro.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's what we did. It was.
You just sent it on QVC and was like,
so well, it was a $400 investment in apparel, and I printed it in my garage, and that's when everything started to get really, really weird. So up until that time, I was straight edge. I didn't drink and I didn't smoke from, I think, 15 years old until whatever I am at that point, 25 maybe. And I started working ridiculous hours. And I took everything I learned at QVC and I was like, okay, you have to have a narrative. You have to have something that people believe in. The people have to want the product for some reason.
Yeah.
And right now we're just making T-shirts. So they're going to want the product because of Dana being behind it. And then they're going to want it because it's limited. They're going to want it because it's a small brand. They're going to want it because I was first to market in fitness. Like I'm comfortable saying that now, where there was no other like indie skate streetwear brands in fitness. You know, there was a couple brands out there, but like not really. Now there's tons. Now there's a million, and there's a million that are, once again, doing better than I am now, and I'm fine with that. But well, not really fine with that, but you know, working towards it. But so we started it, and I was like, I'm printing it myself, and it's just crushing me because I'm printing, I'm filling orders, I'm doing everything. And I remember thinking, I'm like, man, I'm like the hardest motherfucking worker ever. And I was like, how do I show people that? How do I show people that I'm actually working 20 hours a day? Because this was like, social media had started really flexing about how hard people work at this time. But I wanted to show people, and I was like, all right, so like, how do you show people? And I was like, oh, there's this new site called Ustream. Right? So I used to set my laptop up, hook up to we have Wi-Fi at that point? Yeah, hook up to Wi-Fi. And I used to play dubstep.
Of course. And I would Ustream myself printing, and I'd literally be out there working 20 hours. So it was pretty much like, hey, and there's always like 75 people signed on. It's like, hey, like I am the hardest fucking worker. I used to drink diet tea and then turn around and pee in the bottles so they couldn't see me peeing. And then I found out that like if I smoke Black and Milds, I literally stay up for as long as I want to stay up. So I could work for 20 hours. I stopped going to the gym. I didn't give a fuck. Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, I am the hardest worker. Sign on this fucking Ustream that's been on for 6 days. And I guarantee if it's 3:45 in the morning, I'm out there just ripping. So we did that for a long time. We took that $400 investment. We flipped it. The next month I made $8,000. The next month I made $12,000. The next month I made like $24,000. And I got to a point in time where the brand maxed out. Flag Nor Fail maxed out. I think the first year we made $164,000, but the brand maxed out at like making like $45,000 a month because I was printing.
You're only capable of so much.
It was
regardless
me.
Of hours.
It was Dana working part-time, helping pack orders, and it was this girl, Sammy. And like, dude, $40,000 a month when you're printing everything and you're doing everything, it was just like I couldn't do any more.
Yeah.
I got my first warehouse. It was like this abandoned-looking fucking shithole warehouse. I just couldn't. I was like maxed out. And I finally got Drew on. And dude, the month Drew came on we went from 40,000 to 60,000. Then we went to 100 and it just kept going. And I was like, whoa. And I realized like how valuable it is to like add really good quality people.
Yeah.
Like you need worker bees, but like if you add a big brain motherfucker that like can really step back and analyze something and solve problems, crazy.
Yeah.
Around this time too, equally growing, the biggest marketing stream was Dana. So the other thing I'm doing is I'm just videotaping. Like we're not talking at this point in time. Like our relationship's very weird. Like we don't hang out. I just work. And then she works all day, and then we film, and then I go edit. Like, as soon as I'm done filming, I'm like, I got to print shirts, and I got to edit these videos and get them on the internet. So she started to blow up on YouTube, and it all just started to grow from there. I'm sure I'm missing tons of stuff in there, but that's like the come-up story. And then I think the biggest thing is once I got that spark, and I realized that it wasn't corporations. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't these giant magical things out there. Like, it wasn't like what was it? Alien farm boards or even like GT bikes or all that. Like we all grew up watching Rad and all those things. And it was always these big corporations that sponsored kids. And that's how they did stuff. And from seeing QVC and then sort of taking Dana around the fitness industry and getting her to the top, not by winning shows, not by doing anything like that, by literally just going around the industry and getting Dana to win fucking Miss Olympia, turn pro and win Miss Olympia. And then starting a brand where it was like, oh no, I just hired my brother. Like I'm paying my brother a good wage. I retired my mom like year 1.5. I was like, hey mom, how much money do you need to retire? And she's like, oh my God, I need whatever it was, $1,600 a month. I was like, boom, here, done. Retire yourself right now. And like, I realized that it wasn't the big corporations, and that giant spark hit. And then it was like, okay, cool, I can do anything now.
Right.
And that's what it was. I wish that, looking back now, dude, it's like I wish that someone would have had that conversation with me when I was.
Yeah, but like.
But whatever. I mean, no regret or anything. But it's like, it's realizing that you can literally do. We're about to have a Dalen Bailey and a Kaya enter, but you can literally do like anything if you want to figure it out and do it. And I think that was, once I figured that out, that's why I just kept starting brands and kept doing things, opening gyms and all that shit.
Yeah.
And like. It just all clicked, I think. And it was just like, oh no, it's not a work-life balance. You know, it was like whatever you want to do, make that your work and just fucking live life. If you want your brother around you, if you want your wife around you, if you want your friends working around you, like create the lifestyle that you want and you can do that. And I think I literally believe that everyone can do that. I mean, I think that not everyone can go the path that they want, but there's a way for them to do that. Yeah. And I think getting that spark and realizing how things all click, and then realizing that it's going to be really, really, really hard, and a lot of times it's not going to seem like it's going to work. That's sort of what I don't know. If I ever have a kid, that's what I'm going to tell him. You can do anything, little motherfucker.
Be an astronaut.
You literally. But that's, I mean, you know, and I have that like wild ass belief right now. I think you do too. Yeah. But I have that belief right now that like you can say jokingly, be an astronaut. Bitch, I could be in space in 2 years if I wanted to be. Right. And like, I don't doubt myself at all saying that.
And it's cool to hear the story and see that like you weren't someone who got lucky. You were someone who learned from experiences, always had your eyes open, and made the most of them, and realized like, all right, all of this shit happening, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether I think it means something or nothing at all, it relates to me, and there's something to pull from it.
Yeah, like even I think back to being a dishwasher. I think back, and it's like being a dishwasher, most people take that as like, oh, this is the most worthless, meaningless job ever. And I think back to like all the shit that I learned because I just wanted to be the best. Right. I wanted to be as fast as I could. I wanted to make everyone happy. I wanted to impress people. I just started lifting. So like I was really concerned about like how my shirt fit and like having like even like the waitresses notice that like I was in shape and like, you know, like I was like that young hustling dishwasher that was like, I realized that the harder I worked, the more that everyone there was like, whoa, dude, you're a fucking badass. Right. Like, oh yes, I am. Seeing how I could do things more efficiently. So just because the silverware was set up here when I got there and I got the job doesn't mean it had to stay there forever. I would go to my boss and say, hey man, the silverware bucket here, the plates overflow and get the food in it. would there be any way that we could set up something where we put the silverware over here and I can be so much more efficient with it? Or if I get one more silverware tray, I can run them, offset them, and like all these little concepts of how to make my job more efficient. And then you look at it now, it's like, that's literally what we do now. Exactly. I walk in the back and I'm like, okay, cool, inventory. We have 3,000 orders to fill in the next 6 hours. How do we do it efficiently? And it's just the same fucking thing I was doing when I was washing dishes. And that's one of the biggest problems is I hear so many people being like, oh, I'm going to do this after I'm done this stupid job doing this. And it's like, bro, that stupid job, like you pull out the points in that make you a monster. And like, then when you go do whatever you're going to do, like that's your fucking training. That's your college. That's all that shit.
Yeah.
And it's like everyone wants to like discount that and skip it. But I think that's one of the biggest things I ever did is I was instilled like, that was my dad. 100% my dad. My dad's the one who did that, and unfortunately, it was done out of fear. And once again, wasn't beat or anything like that, but it was just so ruthless. And I didn't see him. So when I did see him, bonding time together was always work.
Right.
So it was like, okay, we're going to change the tires on the truck. We're going to clean the truck. We're going to change the oil in the truck. We're going to get firewood. We're going to stack firewood. We're going to fix the roof. And everything that he did, whenever he gave me a command, he would yell at me. So there was never like, hey, can you pass me a wrench? I was like, give me a wrench. And I was always like, fuck. Like, I mean, you just felt like you were in trouble. So from a really young age, what I tried to do is I was always trying to figure out like, what is the next step?
Yeah.
Because like whatever he's doing now, I need the next thing in my hand. I need to make sure that there's nothing around him so he doesn't step on, like changing the oil. When he rolls out, he can't knock over the oil filter because he'll get oil on the ground. Right. And then he's going to need this wrench. He's going to need a rag. And so I was always thinking like 5 steps ahead because I didn't want him to yell at me. Mm-hmm. And then I would do it, and I didn't get praise. It was just like, give me a rag. And I was like, boom. And I was like, I got him a rag. But like he didn't say like, oh, that's cool that you did it. But I was always trained like you have to be more efficient. You have to be better. You have to think ahead. You have to be fucking ready. Mm-hmm. And you have to wake up early, you have to work hard, but I never got that, oh, congrats, you just did it.
You were conditioned to not expect like, oh, well, I just did my job, so where's my thank you or where's the pat on the back?
There was even days where it was like, hey, we're going to stack firewood, and he would like run to go get a newspaper, and I would split all the firewood and stack it and do my job and know that he was going to come back and it was going to be like 6:30 in the morning on a Saturday, and he was going to have me, and I'd have it all stacked. Mm-hmm. I'd be like, you stacked all that wood? I'd be like, yeah. Like, all right, cool, we're going to go get more. Okay, cool. And then we'd go get more, and then he'd do the same thing. He'd be like, you're moving slow, do this. And so it was like there was never a celebration, which is something I'm trying to work on now, but it conditioned me. Always think ahead. It's fucking dope, dude.
And it's cool because, like, from my experience, I was the opposite growing up. Like, always told, like, oh, my art was great because I always drew. I always did this, always did that. But then you conditioned me to in that same sense.
When you came in, you were interesting, but like you were definitely just like one of those kids that was like a really good artist, but like your structure wasn't really there. Yeah, everything was like really loose.
And from when I came on and it was like stuff had to get done, I just did my job, and you were never like, oh, you did great on that, or oh, thank you. It was just like, so I conditioned to be that way. And now that we have like a team and stuff like that, I'm trying to break that mold because I realize not everyone responds.
Now you're like buying breakfast for people on Fridays.
Yeah, now I'm realizing that not everyone responds to like not getting that whatever you want to call it. Not even gratification, but just like a thank you goes a long way. And I think it's just because like when I came on, I was so nervous and scared that I was going to fuck up because there was numerous times you told me, hey, if you ever do that again, you're fired or I'll send you home. And not in like a bad way, but just no, pay attention. When I tell you not to change the color of the word nor in flag nor fail, just don't do it again.
Yeah.
And I
don't
never
modify the fucking logo at your leisure.
And I never took it as like, oh, this guy's an asshole. I was just like, okay, there's rules
I think one of the big differences is you slept at the warehouse too. Yeah. Like you were in it with me to the point where like you saw that it wasn't just what did you call me earlier? A rich dickhead. It wasn't just a rich dickhead showing up saying, oh, do this. I'm going to go back to my fucking yacht.
No, we were grinding together.
Yeah, you saw me grinding, and you saw like, oh, there isn't time to sit around and suck each other's dicks.
Right.
Because like as soon as we crush this, we're late for this next down. And like the reason that we're not celebrating, the reason that we're not like patting each other on the back is because there's no time to.
No, there's more shit to do.
We're trying to fucking take over the world.
Yeah.
And I think that as we brought people in and bigger, they weren't as they didn't understand the mission. Like I didn't even explain you the mission. You saw it through me working.
Yeah.
So I
we
think
shared an office.
Exactly. And I think as we added people didn't realize that like, oh, Rob and Dana are going to fucking Texas for 3 days. They thought we were partying in Texas.
Yeah.
They don't realize that like you go down there, you sign for fucking 6 hours, you go here, you do
don't
that,
eat.
you don't get to eat, you barely get the train, you go back, you do this, and then by the time you're done, you're like, what'd you do in Texas? You're like, I didn't do a damn thing,
I was
bro.
inside at the expo.
We filmed and shot 3 videos where we made it look like we were having as much fun as possible. We did this. We met with this person. We had to eat dinner with this promoter, and then we flew back and came home in the back of the fucking plane, and like my back hurts now.
Yeah.
But like, you were there. You saw that. Other people were like, "Oh, they're traveling. Must be nice."
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that once again, all those things come together. I never really got good at explaining what the mission was to people. So people come on the team and they're there to fight, and then like they don't really know why they're doing stuff, and like they don't know why no one's saying thank you, and they want to be pat on the back, and they want all this shit, and it's like I don't do that.
And I was also I was lucky enough to come in where like we weren't at the peak yet. Well, like I came in and like we were at a good spot, but like we knew there was another level, and we went to that another level.
Yeah.
And then we launched other brands, and we did other things, and we grew bigger. It wasn't like, I think now you see the brand, and it's like, oh, established brand, been around 10 years, has a supplement company that's been around for 5 years, and has a gym on the East Coast. It's like, back then we had Flagner Fail and Dana.
Yeah.
Like music was starting.
Well, we
to
started
be a
doing
thing,
camps, and the gym started coming out. Like,
yeah, so I think I was lucky enough to be in at an early stage of it and be able to be a part of like the whole journey.
Which is why you're conditioned to the person you are. Am I like sort of your dad?
You are my dad.
All right.
Where are we at time wise? I'm
probably at 4 hours.
We're 2 minutes until an hour.
2 minutes.
That felt way longer.
Is
than
that
an
a
hour.
PR?
No, it's not a PR.
No, because this is our first episode.
That's right.
Oh, trick question. Yeah, I don't know. So I mean, that's
I think
that's my come up.
Yeah. I think there's a different, like, if people are interested in
what
like,
I do now.
In what you do now, and I think even just like the growth of Flagner Fail.
That's totally different.
Because like
dude.
we only got up to when Drew came on.
Yeah.
So like we only got up to 2014, probably.
Yeah. Whenever Drew came on. Yeah.
So like,
I think Drew came on in like 2012.
Flagner
honestly.
Fail is a completely different story, but I think like that as you as a person, I mean, there was stuff in there that I never heard before, and I've heard you tell
I started.
your story
So my first business. You want to know that?
Your first business?
My first business.
Are you gonna say you were like selling Girl Scout cookies?
Jolly Ranchers? Stop.
Jolly Ranchers.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm right.
Yeah.
Oh. My God.
All right. So no. So I told you I live in the middle of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
There was this place called Highland Orchards.
Okay.
And they had like a little tiny like hometown convenience store. So I wasn't allowed to have soda growing up. My mom just didn't believe that you could have soda. So what I would do is I would steal change from my dad's change jar.
Okay.
Right. And then it was like a 2-mile walk through like people's yards and like blah, 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 through the fields and shit up there. I think it took like an hour and a half. Maybe it was longer than 2 hours now I think about it. But it was a full day thing. So on Saturday you'd walk up and they had the long Jolly Ranchers. Remember those? So they have like the new square little Jolly Ranchers now, but Jolly Ranchers used to be longer. And because they would break. They were a lot like, what are the other long things called? But they're more taffy-like.
Twizzlers.
No. Airheads.
Airheads.
So they're more like Airheads, but they're like longer like that, right?
Okay.
So I used to buy those, and they were 10 cents. And I used to sell them for 25 cents.
You're showing your age here.
I don't care. I'm 36. But I used to buy them for 10 cents and sell them for 25 cents a quarter.
That's a good profit.
And dude, all day long. That's what I fill my lunch bag with. I take them to school. And one of the things I used to buy, I was saving up for a boombox. But one of the things I used to buy is back. Remember when Shaq?
Oh yeah.
Came out with the Shaq like 1 liter soda. It was like the downfall of the nation.
Wait, so you used to buy and resell those?
No. I used to drink that. So I would walk like an
So
hour
you
and a
went
half
from
to
not
get
being
there.
allowed to have soda to drinking
Well, the only
soda.
way I could get there, the Shack Big Gulp or whatever it was,
Yeah, gallon
I would
of it.
walk there and then I'd buy that and I would drink it on the way back and just give myself a bellyache, and then I would
Jesus.
sling Jolly Ranchers. Yeah.
That's a good hustle.
But that was like, it was like my first time that I realized, and I was like, oh wait, like I'm gonna get this stereo. It was $100.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it took me, but it took me a very long time. But on my first business.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
Thanks, man. I like how you made fun of me and said it was Girl Scout cookies.
I didn't know if like you were being serious or if you were going to be like, oh, I did this. Because like you know about my first job.
No.
Yeah, you do.
Girl Scout cookies?
No, I used to scratch my dad's back to make quarters. That was my first job.
I remember that.
Used to hustle the shit out of that
Yeah.
dude.
I remember when you told us that, cause that was when you first came on. You were like, yeah he scratches.
That was my hustle.
And I was like, wait, what? And you're like,
Saturday night after church.
your dad would lay on the ground.
Yeah.
And your hat.
I would. Yeah. I would lay on the couch
And
above,
your hand, and you'd scratch his back, and he'd pay you a quarter.
a quarter or a half hour. So the trick was you just had to catch him at a good time when something was on TV. So like Saturday night after church, you call couch, and that's who gets to sleep on the couch. Like me and my brothers and my dad would all sleep in the living room.
Yeah.
And that was like our slumber party or whatever
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Saturday nights. So as long as you got a slot where it was like something good on TV, you could sit there and just wiggle your fucking fingers around for 2 hours. Like if you caught a good movie to like scratch his back for 2 hours and make $2 or no, $1.
$1.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you were gonna get the math
But
right.
then I think when me and my brothers got older, we started like hustling a little bit and being like, well, if we're not on the couch, then like the interest rate goes up because now the forearm's at a different angle. And then like
That's very you.
There was like a 2-hand massage. There was like all types of shit. But yeah, we used to get quarters back in the day. That was my first job. That's it.
All right. Well, on that note, I say we end this shit.
On that note, I think we're gonna try to put this on all of the platforms or something. Or
Bro, they're
Apple
already
Podcasts.
listening to it on a platform right now.
Oh yeah,
You don't need to.
Yeah, but they need to leave feedback.
Yeah. Oh, that's what. Yeah. Give us a 5-star review, bitch.
Is that what people say? Like, comment, and subscribe.
No. Just
Is that
we just need.
different?
What
That's
does it say,
different.
Jake?
That's YouTube.
Leave a rating review on iTunes.
Yeah. Leave us a review.
And a rating.
Take a screenshot of you listening to the show.
Can you guys hear him?
Take a screenshot of you listening to this show.
Yep.
Post it on Tinder.
Story,
Tag. We don't have.
Tag me. Tag Rob Bailey.
Tag Kill Rob Bailey.
Kill Rob Bailey.
unless we make a separate.
All right. We started to
No,
come with a
that's too
better
much
name.
work.
All
Oh
right.
yeah.
Well, that's it.
Do we have a sign out? Do we want to thank our sponsors again?
No, Dana. Should we get a sign out?
Yes.
What is it?
What was the one you used
Oh.
to say in the YouTube videos?
Oh. I would make up a
It
new
was-
one every
No, I
No, for a while
it was
the
like
same thing, wasn't it?
after Wild Crocodile or something. No, you know what? You know what? Really good one is that Dana has. It's from Home Alone, and I wouldn't mind if we kept doing it. But but whenever Dana gets tired or anything, I'm like, "Say goodnight, Dana." And she goes, "Good night, Dana."
Say goodnight, Rob.
Say good night, Dana. Good night, Dana.
All right, that's it. So what do I say? Bye.
That was it. You're talking after the outro.
Bye bye. Say good night.
Say good night, Austin.
Good night, Austin.